Hello and welcome to another episode of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Pullein and this week I want to show you two different ways of organizing your tasks in Todoist. Now, you need some kind of structure in any task manager because if you had no structure, you would just have a complete list of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different tasks all organized, well, not organized at all. And it would just be an overwhelming mess. So we do need some kind of structure, and Todoist helps us here by giving us an area in our sidebar called projects. But how you set those up is entirely up to you. Now, for those of you who followed me for a while, you know I use something called the time sector system, but there is a more traditional way of managing your tasks, and that is by project in the sidebar. And I want to show you, I'll kind of do a comparison this week between the two, and then you can make up your own mind whether you feel which one would work best for you. Now, before we go any further, I would just like to say if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let me take you into my demo account, which I have carefully set up for this video, and show you two different ways of managing your tasks. Okay, so let's get started with the traditional setup. For those of you who've not discovered the time sector system yet, you probably have your Todoist set up something like this. So what we have down here is we normally start off by creating a project called work and then personal, and then we have different various projects underneath that. Now, for intents and purposes, this could be a projects for work. So let's just say this is a work project. So maybe you would just have that nested underneath work. Let's say my GoldenEye project is a personal project. So you can have that nested under personal. And let's say that obviously the car maintenance is likely to be personal as well. So you'd probably have it organized something like this, so that when you're at work, you can close your personal projects. And when you're at home, you can close your work projects. But the thing is, what I found is let's just go into Project X, which is a typical work project. What I've got here is a number of tasks that I think are going to need to be done. And it could be true, they all might need to be done. But to me, in my own personal experience from the days when I used to use a traditional setup, is a lot of these tasks never actually need to be done. So I end up putting a load of tasks in that actually are not really needed for the project. I prefer to actually manage my projects out in my Notes app, which we'll come to in a moment. Now, the thing is, when you're processing your inbox at the end of the day, you've got all these tasks. And the way that we throw tasks into our inbox are usually things like call Peter, light bulbs in the office. Oh, car needs a service. Oh, I need to call Jane. Oh, yeah, and I must call Bob. And I need to arrange a team meeting for mid-September. And before I go home, I must clean up my desktop because it is a complete mess. And oh, yeah, I need to follow up with Steve Cook because I need to know about the seminar in December. And I must send that thank you note to Alex. So during the day, this is what you would typically throw into your inbox. And then it comes to processing it. Okay, so what do we do? Call Peter. What's that related to? Is that personal? Is that work? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, I'll just throw it into work. So you get throw it in like that. Light bulbs in the office. Oh, yeah, I need to do that. That's definitely work. So you throw it into work. Car service. Oh, right, that's okay. Car maintenance. And you throw it in there. The problem with this setup is you're having to think a lot more than you probably need to think. Because to me, the most important thing actually is when are you going to do these tasks? It's not really whether they are managed, how they are managed in the sidebar. It's more about when are you going to do these tasks. I found when I used to use the traditional setup was that is where tasks used to get dumped and they would go and die. And so that I didn't forget them, I would just start adding random dates to them, which were not really well thought out. To just say, oh yeah, I need to create a plan for Project X. Oh, I'll do that on Monday. Oh, and I must invite Miles to collaborate on the project. I'll do that on Tuesday. And so on and so forth. You're only adding the date so that you don't forget about the task, which I just found did not work well for me. Hence the reason, about 3 years ago, I developed a different way of managing my tasks. Now remember, we're not talking here about a fully fledged project manager. Todoist is a task manager. In a sense, it's an advanced to-do list. So what I'm doing essentially is managing my tasks, managing my to-dos. So the only question I really need to know, as far as I'm concerned, is when am I going to do the tasks? So now that we've opened up the time sector system, you'll see that I've got this week, next week, this month, next month, long-term and on hold, and routines. Now, let's forget about these for now because that's a bit more of an advance. What I want to do is do that direct comparison between a traditional setup and the time sector system. So what I've got in my this week here is these are all my recurring areas of focus. These just are the things that are important to me that need to be done on a week-to-week basis. They recur. So I can add a date to them and they're going to recur. I am currently recording my YouTube videos. So as you can see, YouTube video is right there. It's a recurring task. Now, 9 times out of 10, this for me is closed. I don't need to open it. It's closed. I don't need to see it. These are all recurring tasks. They are all important and they come up when they need to come up. So when I'm processing my inbox, and this is the key for me, is I need to arrange for my car service. Now what I would do actually is, in this particular case, I would change the task because it needs to be more descriptive. So book car in for service. That's how I would actually do it. I would change the task. So when I grab a task like this, when do I need to do that? Well, I need to do that next week. So I will think, right, I'll do that on Monday. So I'm going to add the date and I'm going to do it next week. So I can just go in here and next week. Done. It's out of the way. It's out of my inbox. Call Jane and call Bob. Now that could be related to my personal life. But again, when am I going to do this? That's the only thing I really need to worry about is when am I going to do this? So I'm going to schedule that for Saturday. That's tomorrow. So I'm going to do that. And that's going to be done. Move to project. That's going to be done this week. So I'm just going to drop that into my this week and that's done. You can see how fast this actually is. And particularly when I'm not talking, I'm just doing this myself. Light bulbs in the office. I can do that next week. So I'm just going to drop that in next week because I don't actually need to add a date simply because I'll be doing a weekly planning session tomorrow. Call Peter. Oh yeah, I need to do that. And that's about Project X. So I'm just going to put project. So just put a little bit of a description in there. I could use a description, but I don't. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that to next week because I'll do that next week. And let's move back here. Send thank you note to Alex. Oh, I must do that today. So again, now I know I need to do that today. I'm likely to actually just complete that from the inbox. That's really quite simple. Follow up with Steve Cook about seminar. That's okay. I'll just move that into next week. Clean up desktop. That will be done. I'll do that tomorrow. So I can schedule that for tomorrow. And again, all I'm doing is I can just add the date and then move it into this week. Arrange team meeting for mid-September. I don't know. Oh, that's gone. Let's bring that back bring that back. Arrange team meeting for mid-September. Yeah, I need to do that next week. So I'm going to prop that in next week and I'm going to do that today. And that's essentially how I manage my tasks in Todoist. It's really, really fast. I don't have to be thinking about, okay, which project did this go to? What label do I need to add to this? All I need to know is when am I going to do it? Now, I can hear you asking through the ether. I can hear you asking, well, what about the projects? How do you manage your projects? This is how I manage my projects. So if you go back to that traditional task that I had, which was my Project GoldenEye. This is a personal task and it's basically about buying a piece of land in Jamaica and building a bungalow. Okay, this is fictitious. This is Ian Fleming inspired project. So what I've done is I have a template set up in my Notes app, which is Evernote, and it's a template that's saved in the templates folder, so I can just quickly access this. And it gives me what are the must outcomes, what is the ultimate outcome, and what's my ultimate purpose for doing this. And I will always put in something here. This area here, this part here, is usually something that I would actually highlight simply because this is important. My why. Why am I doing this? I have a project start date. I have a project deadline. So I don't need start dates in Todoist because my start dates are in my project. Now, this is a long-term 5-year project. So if this was, say, a 6-week project, this wouldn't be year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. This would be week 1, week 2. But right now, this is a 4-5-year project. So in year 1, these are the things that I must do. These are my outcomes for this year. Year 2 would be to finalize the budget, commission an agent, and finalize plans with Gemma, who is the architect, purchase the land, and commission the builder. In year 3, purchase furniture, landscape gardens. I have the budget plans here, which would be set up, which is a direct link to the Excel file or Word numbers file. And then these are the most important outcomes. Now, the thing is, I created a checklist for this because I think it's really important. I don't need to be going back and forth from my task manager. I can just create a checklist. Now, as this project develops, this is a long-term 5-year project. I am sure research land for sale in Jamaica. Well, that probably will create some tasks from that is find real estate agents in Jamaica. Or, so there's going to be other things. So that would be a task that I would send over to Todoist, would be find real estate agents for Jamaica. Once I've done that, I can check that off. It's done. Find out what local regulations are for land purchase. Again, that might be just copied. And I'll show you what we do is we just copy that. And I would just paste that into, let's go over to my Todoist. I would just do this, paste, and it's in. So that's it. That's really quite fast, actually. Going back to my task here, once I've done that, what I usually do then is I highlight that particular one because I know then that that's now in Todoist, create the budget, and so on and so forth. So I could say, oh, we've organized a trip, we've done that. But the beauty of doing it this way is, unlike with a task manager where the tasks, once you've completed them, they just disappear, in Evernote, in my project note, I can see what's been done very, very quickly. Now, going further down here, I have the contact. So I have Gemma's email address. I click on that. It will send an email, open up my email app, directly send an email to Gemma. I've got her telephone number there. And if I'm viewing that on my phone, that would open up a clickable link in there. Everything is all in one place. And if I need inspiration, why am I doing this? What is it going to look like? I've got some inspiration. I can throw in pictures down here. Incidentally, this whole project, by the way, is inspired by Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond. And this is his desk. This is where he actually sat. It is there in GoldenEye. I can go and see it. And this was him way back in 1956, I believe, writing the James Bond book. But you get the idea. I have a template with all this information at the top. It's just blank, and I can add in all my key information related to the project, which is way, way, way better than trying to do all this inside a task manager, not a project manager. But when I need to do something, when I do my planning at the end of the week, I can say, right, I really need to move Project GoldenEye forward. What can I do next week? Well, in this case, I've got a task. Find out what local regulations are for land purchase, for example. I can click on that. I can say I'm going to do that on Wednesday. And that's going to be, and as I'm doing my weekly plan, I would just move that to my this week project folder, and it's there. It's done. I know what I'm doing. And that's the difference between using the traditional setup where things, it's just an uninspiring list, in my opinion. When you get something like GoldenEye projects, for example, this to me is just a totally uninspiring list. It does not get me to say, I want to complete this project. But this here has all that information that I need. It gives me my why. Why am I doing this? It gives me my outcome, that vision that I can have for the project. It gives me my project start date, the project start date, the project deadline. I've got all my years structured. These are like the milestones that I want for this project. And then I've got the initial tasks that I want as a checklist so I can see what's been done and what hasn't been done, and I have all my contact details. And if I'm feeling a bit down and a bit gloomy, which let's be honest is very rare for me, I can go down these pictures and say, yes, I must work on this project. This to me is a way, way, way better way of managing a project than looking at projects like this, which just are dry and dead and don't inspire you to do anything with them. All I need to do, if I really think I'm not working on a project, I can create a task, which I do. Most of my tasks look like this: work on project GoldenEye. And that would be linked directly to that note using Evernote's, which I can go show you. We can get from Evernote, you can get the app link. So if I go down here, copy internal link, so copy the app link. And if I put that in here, what I will do, and I'm going to show you because I didn't show this in the last video. What you do is you just paste that link in there. So you put a space in, put a link in there, and then all I have to do is put a brackets, open bracket and close bracket, or parentheses if you're in the US, and close the bracket and close the bracket right there. And that gives me a clickable link. I can click on that from the list like that, and it will take me directly to the note. Okay, I've got that off my chest. I really wanted to show you the reasons why I use the time sector system as opposed to the traditional setup, which just is totally uninspiring and isn't going to give you that motivation to get these projects completed. Now, I know not all projects are going to be as beautiful or as inspiring as Project GoldenEye. Car maintenance, for example, could be very flat. It's not a very inspiring project. Project X might be a work project, but you could still make a work project inspiring because of what you could learn from doing that project. And it's a much better place to have things like this in here where you can clearly see the outcome. You can put email notes. You can copy and paste things from emails, important information, and add them here. You can do all sorts of things within a project note as opposed to being in a task manager where you're just going to end up with hundreds of tasks and it just becomes overwhelming. There you go. I've had my say. Thank you very much for sticking with this right through to the end. I hope it's given you some ideas. If you haven't taken the time sector system course yet, full details of that are in the show notes. You can take the course. I've kept it very cheap. It's less than $50 and it will give you everything you need to operate the time sector system. Thanks again for watching this video. Just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.